Father Time catches up with us all, unfortunately. So how do we keep adding yards or maintaining our yardage as we get older and less mobile? Let's have a look at that. So going back about 30 years, this is one of the tips I used to give out all the time. Put the ball under your trail heel. When you swing back, feel you don't compress that ball down to keep this trail leg fixed and flexed in position. Turn against that right side and resist and then explode. That was the trend. And if you've got huge flexibility, that's still a possibility, but it's certainly nothing I would recommend even to the most mobile of golfers. What we want in order to make sure we can maintain our distance is have what I would call a resistance-free backswing. Let me explain. So if I swing and keep this knee in position, my backswing is going to go more upright. I'm going to have very little shoulder turn. And I can push off that ball a little bit better than I did then, but it's certainly going to restrict me getting depth in my swing, getting the sweet spot of the club behind me on the way down to create natural speed and forces and torques. And it's going to make it much harder to hit the ball from the inside. So you're likely to cut across the golf ball and hit down on the ball, so you get kind of low drives that have a lot of spin, so they start low and climb, or even the big slice shots that we all hate. So for me, resisting in the backswing is the worst thing you can do, particularly as you get a little bit less mobile. So what should we do? And that's the key really. It's all very good me telling you what we don't want to do, but what do we want to do? So ideally in the backswing, I want you to feel like you're free. So in the backswing, allow this trail leg to straighten, allow the hips to turn, allow your mid-spine to get behind the golf ball, allow your head to move a little bit to the right, especially with the driver, probably up to a max of about 3 or 4 inches. If that means this lead heel needs to come off the ground or even the lead knee work in, that's a great way of mobilizing yourself. So the first thing is really just conceptually to try and feel, okay, let's everything move. In an ideal world, if I turn my upper body, I get so far and then it gets a little bit tight. Then feel like turn my hips to complete that swing. And the more I turn, the deeper this club gets. And then the more I turn, the more chance I've got of getting the right sequence on the way down, which will be lower half lead, upper half, staying my back to target for a bit longer, letting the club work deeper and more from the inside to attack the ball on the way up and on a good path. Now, the more the club is behind us, the sweet spot in particular behind me, the more it has a longer distance to travel and the more then it can generate speed. So it creates width, rotation and torque. So when it's coming from the inside, I have to rotate that club to get it back square to the ball. And that rotation of an element creates speed. So in turning better, it allows us to create these things more naturally. But certainly I would want you to feel a big turn and feel like we are patient on the way down. So in order to feel you've got a big turn, you can use an alignment rod, and you can use it in 2 different ways. So I take my setup to a ball here and I put an alignment rod in between my legs. What I'd want you to feel in the backswing is your lead knee comes across, or lead quad comes across and makes contact. In an ideal world, you'd almost feel that the trail leg and knee works towards the rod also. So I kind of call it corkscrewing the rod. And doing that, you're going to create a much bigger rotation with the lower half. Now, most golfers will have a short backswing, an under-rotated backswing, because they don't allow the lower half to move. So allowing this to move is the first thing. And almost feeling like if I had a line here on my hip in the backswing, I'm allowing that hip just to come target side of that line. I never want to brace through that line if I can help it. If it goes fractionally through it and then recovers, that's okay. But the more it goes through that line, the more it's going to want to kick my spine towards target. And again, that creates height in the arms and also leads to that kind of over the top look on the way down. So the first thing would be using a rod, even if it's at home doing practice swings, trying to feel, okay, can I mobilize my lower half by getting that touch contact and that corkscrew effect. So the first thing I would want to do is, can I hit a couple of balls, creating that corkscrew effect. And ideally then be committed on the way back through. That'd be the first thing. Now, to be a little bit more subtle, what we can do is lay the rod on the ground rather than actually have it in the air. And that means it's not so much in your kind of face, as it were. So just place that rod roughly in the middle of the stance, work the lead knee over to it and lead shoulder over and behind it. And that's why I want to make it feel as light in area as we can. Stay back there and deliver it from the inside. So what we're looking to see from this initially is probably shots that draw or even hook a little bit and push it to the right. Now the reason why I say hook a little bit, the more we feed this kind of turn behind and inside and kind of stay behind, it's going to feed those kinds of shots if we overdo things. We have to then, when we get back to the golf course, really think then about, okay, I need to be committed to getting through the golf ball also. But when we get through the golf ball, it needs to really be lower half and then keep the upper body back with the driver in particular to allow you then to hit up on the golf ball, which again increases power. From a science point of view, it adds more length. So we all want to be hitting up on the ball with the driver. That gives you the maximum opportunity to hit it as far as you can for what you're putting in. So in simple terms, don't resist in the backswing, create depth, maintain the depth on the way down, stay behind the ball and lump the driver with freedom and with confidence down the middle of the fairway.